Good day everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing the design and analysis of compression members. Compression members are structural elements that are subjected to axial compressive force only. These are forces directed towards the cross-section of the member, which is applied along the longitudinal axis through the centroid. This is similar compared to tension, aside from that tension is applied away from the cross-section. However, this is just an ideal state which could never be achieved in reality because some eccentricity of the load is inevitable. And with this eccentricity, bending will result, and this can be regarded as secondary effects. And this can be neglected if for some theoretical loading conditions. And for some reasons, those bendings that cannot be neglected will be dealt under the topic which is called the beam columns. It's the after ng flexural members natin. However, in this topic, we'll be analyzing those under the idealized scenario where there is no eccentricity and purely compressive force lamang yung nag-act sa ating member. And there are several types of compression members. And we can see here in our structural frames that we have this column. And column is the best known among sa ating compression members. And some compression members are those in our supporting structures. And some are found in our bridges. Some other types are the top chord trusses and bracing. But if we're here in our bridge structures, we have here the top chord of the bridge which is colored red, and yung bracings natin are subjected sa ating compressive forces. As well as dito sa roof, we can see that the top chord of our roof ay yung top chord. For this one pala, the top chord ay under sa ating compression. Nalito kasi ako, iba kasi yung kulay din. Ano? Bali, itong top chord natin ay under compression as well as itong mga diagonal members na ito. While those na naka-color na green ay under tension. And we can also see our compression members sa mga frames natin, especially dito sa ating mga bracings. And we also have some other compression members which is called the struts. Ito yung mga short vertical members natin which is also subjected to compressive loads. And with that idea kung ano yung mga ating compression members, we will look naman kung ano yung mga sections that can be used or suitable for the column purposes natin. Theoretically, there are endless number of shapes that can be selected for to safely resist a compressive load. Most of these sections are similar to those used for compression members except for rods, bars, plates, which can be too slender to resist the compressive loads. But from a practical viewpoint, the numbers of possible solutions is very limited by such consideration as sections available, yung nakalista sa ating manuals. Then, for some connection problems, may mga members tayo na mahirap i-connect. Pwedeng i-connect lang siya using weld. And meron namang pwedeng i-connect lamang using bolts. And some other consideration is the type of the structures. Bali may mga sections tayo na hindi pwedeng gamitin for a particular type of structures. Lalo na kung may mga restraint due to architectural purposes or reasons. And shown here below are the sections that are usually used as column members. We have the angle section, double angle, T, channel, uh, wide flange column, pipes or round HSS tubings, the square HSS tubings, rectangular HSS tubings, and some other build-up sections. And for angle section, these are this is satisfactorily used for bracing and compression members in light trusses. And comparing equal angle and unequal angle, mas economical gamitin si equal angle natin because it has a least radius of gyration for even for a greater yung kanyang radius of gyration kahit na same lang yung cross-sectional area niya compared sa ating unequal na leg. Then double angle are usually used as top member and may space siya in between kung saan ikinoconnect natin yung ating gusset plate. Then, si T-sections naman, pwede siyang ipalit kay double angle, pero this time, pang-weld lang siya. Bawal natin siyang i-connect or mahirap siyang i-connect using a gusset plate. Then, yung channel section natin are not satisfactorily used as compression members due to its almost negligible radius of gyration values at the web axis. But if we will insist in using this section, it will require extra lateral support dun sa weak axis niya, which is the web axis. Then we have our W column or the wide flange sections natin. This is the most commonly used shape for columns because almost equal or nearly balanced yung R values niya for its major and minor axis. Though hindi siya equal, pero among the sections, ito yung may pinakamalapit na values ng RY and RX. Then we also have the HSS tubings, the rounds and square natin as well as the rectangular. These are neat-looking members and nung una, ito yung usually na ginagamit na section. Pero ito ay medyo mahirap i-connect at usually welds din yung ginagamit natin for connection. And ang isang problem sa paggamit nitong ating pipes or yung HSS tubings natin, yung gitna niya, itong interior wall ng ating HSS sections ay prone to corrosion, especially kung hindi na seal properly yung mga connections. Kung may gap doon at merong pwedeng pagpasukan yung air na mag-cost ng corrosion ng ating section. And we have the built-up sections. Ito, may different types of built-up sections tayo. And ginagamit natin ito in order to improve the stiffness of the section or the radius of gyration, which will make it as a more satisfactory na members to resist our applied compressive loads. And that ends our discussion or the introduction for our compression members. And in the next topic, we'll be discussing, or next video, we will have the limit states for our compression members as well as the discussion ng Euler's buckling loads natin. And thank you for watching. Good day everyone, this is our part 2 for the discussion of analysis and design of compression members. And we will be discussing the limit states for compression member and the types of columns. Here in our picture, we can see the failure of our compression members. For the first picture, makikita natin that nagkaroon ng deflection yung ating beam. Nag-buckle. Bali from the original configuration, makikita natin yan dito sa ating yellow na line. Nagkaroon ng deflection. Then we can hear na na-twist yung ating angle section. At may mga parts or area ng ating angle section na nag-fail. And based on our NSCP 2015, specifically for Section 505, the design of members for compression, it is stated here that we have the following limit states. We have the flexural buckling, torsional buckling, and flexural torsional buckling. And in addition to that, we also have our local buckling. Generally kasi we have the general buckling or global general buckling, which sa general buckling natin, nandyan si ating flexural buckling, FB. We have torsional buckling, TB, at flexural torsional buckling natin na FTB. Yung general buckling, pwede rin siyang tawagin na global buckling. Well, aside from this buckling, we can also experience yung ating local buckling. Bali dito, localized lang yung buckling, but this will greatly affect yung loads na kayang i-carry ng ating members. And based dito sa NSCP, maho-compute natin yung nominal compressive strength or PN ng ating compression members sa pagpili ko alin yung may pinakamababa na value among dito sa ating 3 limit states. And provided din dito na for doubly symmetric and singly symmetric members, the limit state of flexural buckling is applicable. Then for singly symmetric and unsymmetric members, and certain doubly symmetric members such as cruciform or built-up columns, the limit state of torsional and flexural buckling are also applicable. And if we already chosen yung ating nominal compressive strength na PN, we can compute for the design compressive strength, which is for LRFD natin, by multiplying its respective resistance factor, which is 0.9. Pakitandaan na 0.9 yung ating resistance factor. Then, if we will be computing for the allowable compressive strength based on ASD, that's just PN divided by our factor of safety, omega, na ang value niya ay 1.67. But before we proceed, ano ba si doubly symmetric and singly symmetric members natin? Balikan natin tong ating sections. Bali si doubly symmetric, siya ay members na symmetrical both sa Y and X axis natin. And those includes itong ating wide flange column where we can see pag nagpass tayo ng line, yan symmetric siya, as well as dito sa X axis natin. Then itong ating round tubings, okay, doubly symmetric din. Ito rin ating square, HSS, as well as itong ating rectangular tubings. Then, same thing dito sa mga built-up sections natin. If we pass through axes, makikita natin na symmetric siya. Therefore, these are considered as doubly symmetric. Then, ano yung singly symmetric natin? Those are members na aisa yung axis of symmetry niya. For this T-section, and symmetric siya. Pero kapag ka nagpass tayo ng another line, hindi na siya symmetric. Well, dito sa ating channel, ito yung axis of symmetry niya. Bali, equal ito. Meron siya dito and equal siya. Nagkaroon ng reflection. Itong double angle natin, yan, pwede rin na rin siguro natin consider as doubly symmetric. Pero dalawa kasi siya built up na rin siya, pinagsama siya ng dalawang section. Then, ano yung mga non-symmetric sections natin? Yan. Meron tayong angle na kahit sa natin hatiin, hindi natin makikita yung symmetry sa kanya. Then, may nabanggit doon na other symmetric shapes, doubly symmetric, yung cruciform natin, or yung parang cross na section. This one. Yan. Bali siya ay doubly symmetric section din. And yan, pwede na, guided tayo kung ano yung type of limit state na pwede natin gamitin for a specific type of our sections. Kung siya ay doubly symmetric and singly symmetric, applicable daw si flexural buckling. Then, for other shapes, kailangan natin din i-check si torsional and si flexural torsional buckling. Then, ano ba si, ano yung mga failures na yun, Si limit state natin na flexural buckling, torsional buckling, si flexural torsional buckling. Bali, si flexural buckling, may kita natin with this illustration. Bali, simply siya ay bending lang, sa minor and major axis niya. Yan, makikita natin sa section. Pero, halos katulad siya ni bending moments or yung nakukompute natin sa beams, Pero sa beams kasi natin, ang applied loads dyan ay hindi man compression, Bali, mga bending moments siya or may mga moments na applied or loads that will result sa bending natin. Pero dito, buckling ating failure and that's not bending, which is not caused by a moment. Then sa torsional buckling naman natin, umikot yung section, Na-maintain niya yung axis niya pero umikot. Nagkaroon ng rotation within the axis. Dito bending, then dito rotation. Sa flexural torsional buckling, it's a combination ng flexural buckling natin and torsional buckling. Nag-bend na siya, then umikot pa. Dito sa ating flexural torsional buckling. Balito yung definitions ng ating limit states, For flexural buckling, it is also called the Euler's buckling, and this is the primary type of buckling. Members are subjected to flexure or bending when they become unstable. Then for torsional buckling is simply the twisting of the entire cross-section about its shear center. Bali na twist lang or umikot yung ating section. Then for a flexural torsional buckling, it may occur in columns that have certain cross-sectional configurations, such as stated dun sa limit states natin. At isa nga dito sa pwedeng maka-experience na ating flexural torsional buckling is si cruciform natin. This column fails by twisting or torsion and by a combination of flexural bending natin. Thus, yung tawag doon sa limit state natin is the flexural torsional buckling, combination of flexural bending or flexural buckling and the torsional bucklings natin. And this shows yung ating limit states na tatlo, which is natawag nga natin na global na limit state. Pero tayo dito, nag-translate lang yung ating shape, then dito, nagkaroon ng rotation. Then sa flexural torsional buckling, nag-translate na siya, nag-rotate pa. And aside from that, we also have our buckling, which is the local buckling. Meron din distortional, pero commonly sa channels natin may kita. Pero dito sa local buckling natin, may mga localized tayo na buckling. Though hindi pa nag-fail entirely si ating section, may mga parts na ng section natin na nag-fail. At makikita natin yan dito sa ating illustration. Anong definition ng ating local buckling? Local buckling occurs when some part or parts of cross-section of a column are so thin that they buckle locally in compression before other modes of buckling can occur. This susceptibility of a column to local buckling is measured by width to thickness ratio of the parts of its cross-section. But we will be considering the width to thickness ratio in order to identify if yung section natin will fail based on the local buckling. And if local buckling occurs in our cross-section, the flexural strength or ay yung mga strength na makukompute natin, the compressive strength rather, will be reduced. Kaya dito sa later parts na discussion natin, meron modification na mangyayari kapag merong um, parts na ating section that is susceptible for a local buckling. Bali, magkakaroon tayo ng factors na Q to account yung reduction ng ating PN dahil sa presence ng local buckling. Then, we also have the types of our columns. Bali, we have three types, in short, intermediate, and long columns natin. And for different types of columns, we have different types of failure. Bali, in short column natin, maiksi lang siya. At dahil sa maiksi siya, yielding yung ating failure na mangyayari. Bali, wala ditong buckling na mag-occur. Bali, mag-crush yung ating column. Bali, in order to crush this, napakalaking compressive force yung kailangan nating i-apply. Then, we have the intermediate column, and this could fail based on yielding and buckling. Then, we have the long column, which will fail on buckling. And dito sa long column natin, ito yung column na pwede nating applyan ng ating Euler buckling loads or stresses. The short column fails by crashing at a very high stress levels that are above the elastic limit of the column material. For a very short column, the failure stress will occur to the yield stresses and no buckling can occur or will occur. Then for long columns, column fails by buckling at the stress levels that are below the elasticity of the material or the elastic limit natin. The Euler's formula predicts very well the strength of long columns where the actual buckling stress remains below the proportional limit. Such column will buckle elastically. Then lastly, we have the intermediate columns. And for intermediate columns, some of the fibers will reach the yield stress and some will not. And the members will fail both by yielding and buckling, and their behavior is said to be inelastic. And most columns fail or falls in this range. And based on these types of column, we will be having different formulas to be used. And those formulas will be discussed on the next videos. And that is under our column theory. And that's all, and thank you for watching. Good day everyone. In this video, we'll have our continuation of our discussion for the analysis and design of compression member. And we will have our column theory in this video. The column theory or yung Euler's column buckling theory natin was introduced by Leonhard Euler on 1757, and he analyzes column based on differential equation of elastic curve. And this elastic curve na ginamit ay similar or almost similar dun sa ating elastic curve for beams, yung ginamit natin dun sa structural theory natin para ma-derive yung double integration method natin. However, some specific factors of safety and slenderness ratio limitation are applied from purely theoretical concepts, thus arriving dito sa kanyang critical Euler critical loads. Bali, in this figure, we can see this is long slender compression member, and if we apply a load on it, ito, load P, this load will increase, which will cause the member to become unstable. And yung instability ng ating section is shown here sa ating dash line. And this instability is called our buckling. This means the member have buckled, and the load which caused the buckling is called the critical buckling load. And On the contrary, for this stackier column, a very large load is needed to cause instability. And this instability is called compressive yielding instead of buckling. Balik kapag stackier yung column natin, the limit state that we'll be considering is called the compressive yielding. Whereas kapag ka slender and long yung ating column, we will have the buckling na failure. At nabanggit last time, meron tayong 3 types of buckling, but in this video, we'll just have the flexural buckling. And the critical buckling load that caused the buckling is computed using this formula. PCR equals pi squared EI over L squared. Where yung E, familiar tayo dito, and this is called the modulus of elasticity. Then si I is a moment of inertia, which alam naman na natin kung paano computin, di ba? Then we have L, which is the length of the member, kung kaano kahaba yung member natin. And itong ating critical buckling load ay true lamang or valid kapag ka under sa elastic region yung ating ina-analyze. Bali kung yung stress na makukompute natin using the critical buckling load, considering the area of the member, ay hindi ga-exceed sa kanyang proportional limit. Bali, this formula, itong FCR natin, ay under sa idealized condition. At ano yung idealized condition natin na yun? Dapat daw si E or yung ating section ay elastic. Therefore, meron siyang value ng ating modulus of elasticity. At kapag hindi na elastic yung ating section, hindi na valid itong ating PCR na formula. Also, yung ends or itong supports na ating column must be free from rotation. Bali, pwedeng magkaroon ng moment. But not translate. Bawal gumalaw. Bawal nag-sway. Bali, non-sway yung ating member. Bawal siyang pumarito. Or simply, yung ating section, yung idealized section natin, dapat ay pin-connected yung ating section. And yung derivation nitong formula natin was based on the elastic beam theory. Katulad nga na sinabi ko kanina na pwede itong gamit yung formula na ginamit natin sa structural theory. And it was, yung derivation ay presented sa book ni McCormack or kay Segi. And since meron tayong critical buckling load, we also have our critical buckling stress. Bali dito sa critical buckling stress, malalaman natin kung nag-exceed ba sa proportional limit yung ating yung stress na na-induce nung ating load P or yung P critical natin. At paano natin na-derive itong formula natin na FCR or sometimes called FE lang FE or FCR. Bali FE siya kasi only true nga lang siya sa ating proportional limit or hanggang sa value kung saan CE or si modulus of elasticity is applicable. Bali ito dapat nakaganito. Bali paano natin na-derive itong formula natin na yan? Balikan lang natin si strength of materials. From strength of materials, we know that our stress or F ay equal sa P over area. Which si P ay yung loads natin while A is the area. Bali, FE natin or FCR ay equal sa pi squared EI over L squared. Ito si P natin. Then divide natin by A. Pwede natin i-simplify siya as pi squared EI over L squared over A. Tama? And since yung ating from earlier inintroduce na dapat ay based on slenderness ratio, balikan lang natin. Bali yung analysis ni Leonhard Euler, gumamit siya ng specific factor of safety such as also yung slenderness ratio limitation ay in-incorporate din natin from a purely theoretical concept. At paano natin may express or mapapalabas slenderness ratio natin? Bali, si slenderness ratio pala ito, yun si L over R. At yan dapat magkaroon ng R. Bali, si R? Si R is the radius of gyration. And we know that the formula for a radius of gyration is simply square root, rather, of I divided by A. And yan, si I over A, ito siya. Kaso, dapat ay walang square. Kaya pwedeng square natin both sides ito. Magiging siyang R squared equals I over A. And si I over A, pwede na natin siyang palitan ng R squared. Therefore, we will have this formula. That's R squared over L squared. Pero dapat ma-express natin siya in terms of slenderness ratio. Bali, pwede natin gawin ganito. Pi squared E over L squared over R squared. Then, apply lang natin yung ating law of exponents. Magiging ganito na yung formula natin. Pi squared over L over R squared. And that give us itong critical stress natin or Euler critical stress formula or critical buckling stress na formula. And based on this formula, mapapansin natin na as slenderness ratio increases, yung buckling stress natin, FCR, ay nag-decrease. Siyempre, pag laki ng denominator natin, maliit yung value. Hindi naman kasi nagbago itong ating numerator. Tama? Then, the column becomes longer and more slender. The loads that cause buckling become smaller. And makikita natin naman siya pagka in terms of PCR. Makikita natin na kapag mas mahaba yung ating member, mas mababa yung buckling loads. Kasi bumaba din si ating stress. And similarly, kapag itong critical buckling stress ng formula natin ay only true kapag hindi man nag-exceed sa proportional limit itong makukompute natin na FCR. At with that limitation na bawal mag-exceed sa proportional limit natin, yung computed na critical buckling stress, nagkaroon ng limitation si Euler buckling loads or yung ating Euler column theory. At makikita natin dito. Bali, based on the test or experiments, hindi man true, ito kasi si curve ng natin, theoretical na value ng ating Euler buckling load. At kapag nag-exceed na sa proportional limit, yung stress na may experience niya, hindi na nasunod itong ating theoretical na buckling loads. Bali, bumaba na siya dito at hindi na pwedeng gamitin itong formula na to. At dahil sa limitation na yan, bali wala na, hindi na linear yung relationship ng stress and strain at proportional limit. Therefore, yung E, ito, hindi na natin pwedeng i-utilize. Bali, dahil hindi na natin pwedeng gamitin si E, nag-introduce si Mr. Friedrich Engels ng bagong concept, which is natawag natin na modulus, tangent modulus. Bali, sa tangent modulus, dito, kapag daw nag-exceed na sa proportional limit natin, dito, yung ating stress na may experience, hindi na nga true yung ating, si modulus of elasticity natin. And with that, si tangent modulus ay in-introduce, which is yung value ng tangent modulus natin, is the slope of the stress-strain curve beyond the proportional limit. Bali yan, consider na ito yung point, then mag-plot ng tangent line, then akuhain yung slope ng tangent line na yun. At yun ay magiging value natin ng tangent modulus. At yun sa introduction naman sa modification na in-introduce ni Engels, bali similar lang din naman siya dun sa formula ni Euler. Kaso nga, CE, since hindi na applicable, pinalitan niya lang ng E sub t, which is si tangent modulus. Bali, pag-compute ng proportional ng loads, stress kasi mo-compute dito, ay equal lang din. Bali, si ETI is smaller ang value niya compared kay E. And with that, it requires a trial and error approach which will become harder for us. Mahirap kasi natin ma-compute yung value ng E sub t natin dahil nag-require siya ng trial and error or iterative na steps. Thus, values or empirical formulas will be used in replacement or para mas mapadali yung pagkuha natin ng E sub t. And itong theory ni Engeser, meron din itong mga detractors katulad nung kay Euler. At yung mga inconsistency na yun naman, na-convince si Engeser na may mali nga sa kanyang theory. At dahil doon, mas ni-refine niya pa yung mga concepts na ginamit niya. Pero may pag-aaral na sinabi na mas close dito sa formula ni Engeser yung actual value na pwede natin makompute na FCR. And up to now, may mga ginagawang efforts yung ating mga researchers in order to improve itong understanding natin sa column buckling theory. Pero as of now, since wala pang major na discoveries, ang ginagamit natin ngayon ay yung concept ni Euler as well as itong modified na formula based on Engeser. And since may dalawa tayong consideration, yung sa based on Euler, balik pag kay Euler, that's elastic buckling. At kapag ka inelastic na yung buckling based on sa tangent modulus natin. At kapag ka-plinat natin yung makukuhang stress with respect to the slenderness ratio, mabubuo itong curve na to. Bali itong curve na to, this represents yung mga stresses natin that will be computed using the Euler buckling stress formula. While this part naman, ito makikita, represent nito yung stresses natin computed using the modified na buckling formula which uses itong ating tangent modulus. Dito yung normal natin na formula. At after plotting yung dalawang curve na to, makikita natin na nagkaroon ng tangent yung dalawang curve. Bali, nag-meet sila in some point. At yung point na yon corresponds sa proportional limit ng ating element. Bali, equal siya sa PL. At yung PL na yan ay almost equal sa 0.44 ng Fy. And pag plinat yan, itong point na to, meron din siyang corresponding na point, location dito sa slenderness ratio na axis natin. And that is called, ito may value siya, na 4.71 square root of Fe ba? That's the square root of E pala, E over Fy. E over Fy. Bali, kapag ka less than yung slenderness ratio natin sa 4.71 of square root of E over Fy, bali nandito nagala yung slenderness ratio natin, yung buckling nag-occur ay inelastic. Then, if we have a greater slenderness ratio, the elastic buckling yung ga-occur. Kapag greater than siya dito sa 4.71. Understandable naman siya based on the illustration. Then, aside from that, pwede rin natin i-analyze kung anong type ng buckling occur based on the stress. We have yung stress na makukompute natin ay greater than sa tawag dito sa 0.44 Fy. Pag dito na lumabas yung stress na makukompute natin, Fe. Fe kasi ito, Fe or FCR. Fe. Pag yung Fe natin ay greater than 0.44 Fy, therefore, yung type ng buckling is inelastic. Whereas kapag ka lower naman, the inelastic yung buckling na makukompute natin. And With this figure or graph, na-derive yung ginagamit natin na concept sa NSCP natin. Ano? Bali, with this graph, pwede natin ma-recall agad kung ano yung agamitin natin or ano yung conditions stated sa NSCP kung hindi man provided sa NSCP. Bali, ito yan. Dito nakasulat. Bali, basahin lang natin. That's just base NSCP under 505.3, yung compressive strength of flexural buckling of members without slender elements. Pag without slender elements, or kapag ka-global stability yung ga-occur, this section applies to compressive members with compact and non-compact section as defined in section 502.4 for uniformly compressed elements. Bali ang mga yan, yung without slender elements at section 502.4 later natin madidiscuss. Kapag under na tayo ng local stability. Bali, the nominal compressive strength, Pn, shall be determined based on the limit state of flexural buckling. Bali, yung Pn natin ay equal sa FCR times Ag. Si Ag ay area gross, pero si FCR or the flexural buckling stress natin ay may dalawang case. And si FCR, madedetermine natin siya based nga dito sa ating illustration na yan. Bali, translate lang ni NSCP itong illustration na to. Kapag ka yung slenderness ratio natin, si LR, pero this time ito may K na tayo, kaya itong slenderness ratio na to ay atawagin natin effective slenderness ratio. Kapag yung effective slenderness ratio ay less than or equal sa 4.71 square root of E over Fy, yung ating FCR na makukompute ay, or yung buckling na mag-occur ay inelastic. Yan. Diba, nabanggit ko na kanina, kapag less than si slenderness ratio dito, inelastic buckling. Then similarly, pwede rin natin i-check based on stress if si Fe or critical buckling stress, which will be computed using this formula, yung kay Euler, yung Fe natin ay greater than sa 0.44 Fy. Ito siya, dito, yung value, ibig sabihin na inelastic buckling. At kapag ka inelastic buckling yung occur, makukompute natin si flexural buckling stress, FCR, as Fy times 0.658 raised to Fy over Fe. Yun lang siya, At kapag ka hindi naman less than si, pag greater than yung slenderness ratio or effective slenderness ratio than 4.71 is square root of E over Fy, or si Fe ay less than sa 0.44 Fy, or ito siya, balik ko nandito nag-lie yung slenderness ratio natin, or kapag ka mas mababa sa 0.44 Fy yung ating Fe na makukompute, ibig sabihin elastic buckling yung ga-occur. At kapag ka elastic buckling, ito lang yung kukompute natin. Ito yung formula na gagamitin. The flexural buckling stress, FCR, ay equal sa 0.877 ng Fe. At yung Fe nga makukompute using this formula na pi squared E over KL over R squared. Bali, K na tayo, may K dahil effective slenderness ratio yung ating gagamitin. And after computing for FCR, yan, makukompute na natin si Pn by just multiplying si FCR sa Ag. Sa Ag tayo, bali walang butas, yun na consider natin na member. Then, kapag ka do pwede siyang may butas, pero area gross siya gamitin natin. Di kasi siya ga-fail on yielding. Rupture rather. Then, pagka na-compute na natin si Pn, pwede na natin computein si Pu natin, Pu max, or si capacity ng section natin. Ultimate capacity ng compressive element natin as Pn times Phi. Then kapag ka PA naman, that's omega times Pn divided by omega. At yung value ng phi natin ay 0.9. Then si omega ay 1.67. And after that, may value na tayo ng Pu and Pa and we can check na or analyze kung itong compressive strength na ating section ay kayang i-carry yung ating applied loads based on the loads combination of different design philosophies natin. Pero take note na ito ay true lang nga kapag ka yung ating element ay without slender elements. Or dapat ma-check pa natin siya nga dito based on 502.4 at ito siya. Dito pa sa next na video. Yan, bali 502.4. Bali kailangan natin i-check yung ating width to thickness ratio to determine kung may slender elements ba tayo. At kapag ka may slender elements, mapasok na sa local instability yung ating problem. Which yung ating formula kanina, nasa na ba? Yan, yung formula natin kanina, kamukha lang din ito, Kaso, may in-incorporate tayo na Q. Para ito dun sa ating slender elements. Pero ito ay madidiscuss pa naman later dun sa next na video natin. Then, sa next video din, we will identify kung ano yung pinagkaiba ano yung mga slenderness ratio na pwede natin computein. Bali, meron kasi tayong simple na slenderness ratio. Then, may slenderness ratio tayo na nakamultiply sa K. At yun ay natawag natin na effective slenderness ratio. At yun ay malalaman natin in the next video. Bali, sample problems natin, we'll have that in a separate video. And we will also have a sample problem sa ating face-to-face classes. Thank you for watching. Good day everyone. In this video, we will discuss slenderness ratio. Bali, in the previous video, nakita natin kung gaano ka-importante si slenderness ratio. Si slenderness ratio kasi makaka-apekto siya sa value ng ating critical buckling stress and or buckling load. Therefore, necessary na ma-understand natin kung paano natin makukompute yung appropriate na slenderness ratio. Then, last time din, di ba sa pag-derive ng ating critical buckling load, in-state doon na yung derivation niya ay based on idealized condition, which is pin-pin connected yung column natin. At impossible naman sa totoo na perfectly pinned yung ating mga members. Bali, may mga members kasi tayo na pwedeng fixed fix, pin fix, or different configuration. At yung different end restraints natin, yung mga supports, will have an effect sa load carrying capacity of our columns. Thus, understanding this is very important subject. And columns with appreciable rotational and translational end restraint can support considerably more loads than those with little rotational end restraint as at the hinges. And with that, naka-state dito sa ating NSCP yung ating slenderness limitation and effective length. The effective length factor, K, for the calculation of column slenderness, KL over R shall be determined in accordance with section 503. Bali yung values ng K natin, naka-state siya sa 503. Where yung L, na tawag natin na unbraced length or laterally unbraced length, ibig sabihin, yun yung length ng member natin na walang support. Bali here, nandito lang sa dulo yung support niya. At dahil unsupported yung length na to, 24, yung L natin is 24, yung unbraced length natin. Pero kapag ka nagdagdag tayo ng support dito sa gitna, nilagyan natin ng support at YY axis. Dahil weak axis natin yung Y at para maging mas stiff yung ating member, nagdagdag tayo ng dito, ng support. Pero by adding this support, na-reduce natin yung ating unbraced length. Originally, 24 siya, pero nag-add tayo dito. Na-divide sa dalawa yung ating column. Bali, meron tayong unbraced length na nandito, that's 14, and another unbraced length, which is 10. At sa pag-incorporate ng additional na support, mas napaliit natin si unbraced length, thus, na-improve natin yung performance ng ating column. Then si L, siya ay yung governing na radius of gyration. At ano yung governing of radius of gyration natin? Bali, yan yung radius of gyration natin na pinakamababa. Bali, the minimum radius of gyration. Bali, pagbaba kasi ng ating radius of gyration, mas nataas yung slenderness ratio natin. At kapag tumaas masyado sa slenderness ratio, possible siya na mag-exceed dun sa slenderness limitation natin. Thus, will have an effect sa ating stresses. Kaya, na-take into account natin yung pinakamababa na radius of gyration. Kasi kapag based on slenderness ratio yung ating limitation, yung maximum na radius of gyration yung maximum na slenderness ratio yung gagamitin natin. May dalawa kasi tayong slenderness ratio, no? Or minsan tatlo pa. Pag angle section, tatlo yung makukompute natin na slenderness ratio. Considering na same effective length. Pero meron kasi tayong Ry KL over Rx. Then kapag ka-angle section, may dagdag tayo na KL over Ry. Rz pala rather. At alin ang magabigay dyan ng pinakamalaki na slenderness ratio? Yung may pinakamaliit na denominator or pinakamaliit na radius of gyration. At sa angle section, that's Z. Bali, si governing radius of gyration natin ay yung minimum between Ry, Rx, and Rz. Then si K natin, the effective length factor, nakadepende siya dun sa ating 503. Kasi dito sa effective length factor natin, pwedeng mas humaba yung ating effective length. Depende dun sa support condition or pwede namang bumaba. Kasi dito sa ating effective length, na-take into account niya yung distance ng inflection points ng ating beam. Bali, si inflection point, madidefine siya later on. Bali, continue lang natin. May user note tayo dito, and for members designed on the basis of compression, the slenderness ratio or effective slenderness ratio, KL over R, preferably should not exceed 200. Ano na, pakirecall yan, ano? Bali, pag tension member tayo, dapat ay bawal umexceed sa 300. Pero dito, since we are analyzing buckling at hindi kasi masyado di naman ka-fail based on buckling si tension member, kaya masyadong mataas yung slenderness ratio limitation niya. At dito, dahil prone siya sa buckling, binabaan natin yung slenderness ratio limitation, which is 200 lamang. Bawal lumagpas ng 200 yung slenderness ratio. At paano natin makukuha si slenderness ratio? Dependent siya sa value ng K natin. But for now, discuss lang muna natin si effective length. Yung nakukuha natin, si effective length ay value ng K times L. Si L ay unbraced length, tama no? At dito sa effective length natin, nakuha natin yung distance between inflection points. Bali, ito yung mga inflection points natin. Doon merong, or pag-change ng slope ng ating line, or may may changes nga. Yan. At kapag pin to pin tayo, yung inflection points natin ay nandito sa supports natin. Pero kapag may fix, ang approximate na effective length natin ay 0.5 L. And then pag meron tayong pin fix, the effective length natin is 0.75 L. Bali yung mga coefficients nitong ating effective length or yung coefficient ng ating unbraced length, siya yung value ng K natin. And that give us, itong product niya, give us the effective lengths natin. At nandito, ayan pala. This length, effective length, approximates the length over which the column actually buckle, and this may become shorter or longer than the actual brace length. Bali, makikita natin in this figure. Bali dito, naka-specify yung mga value ng K depending on the end conditions. Bali, for this, we have end condition. Nandito siya. That's rotation fixed and translation free. Pagka rotation, hindi pala. Rotation fixed and translation fixed. Dito siya mag-fall sa ating una na to, no? Ito yung example niya. Pag rotation fixed and ito ay fixed ended. Then ito rotation free and translation free, that's spin. Then pag rotation fixed and translation free. Ano siya? And bali cantilever. Tapos roller yung isa dyan eh. Roller. Rotation free. Lever. Tama ba? Okay. Hindi ko. Bali kapag fixed tayo, yung, di ba sa fixed zero yung ating dito, slope. Then, yung approximate na effective length natin is 0.5 ng L. Bali, distance ng inflection point natin ay this one, na 0.5 siya ng L. Then, kapag meron tayong translation, ito pa. Ano tawag dyan? Hindi ko rotation free and translation fixed. Bali, nakapin tayo dito, then fix dito sa baba. Yung effective length natin ay 0.7 ng L. Bali, dito located yung ating inflection points. Then, kapag meron naman tayong rotation fixed and translation free, then sa baba ay meron tayong fixed end. Yung unbraced length natin ay simply equal sa 1. Ay yung ating effective length ay 1 times L. Yung K niya ay equal sa 1.0. Then kapag meron tayong pin, that's 1.0. Nandito yung inflection points niya. Then kapag meron tayong free end, then fixed end, ang kanyang theoretical value ay 1.0. Theoretical K value ay 2.0 rather. Bali na dito kasi inflection points niya. Then, makukontinue pa yan dito. Bali nandito yung kasunod na inflection points niya. At ito ay L. Then ito ay another L. Therefore, 2 times L yung ating effective length. Kaya yung K natin ay 2.0. Then dito naman sa ating rotation fixed and translation free, then meron tayong pin sa baba. Katulad lang nito, may extend din siya dito. Then this distance, ito inflection points na this is L, this is L. Therefore, yung theoretical value natin for K ay 2.0. Or L plus L, that's 2.0 L, and that's our K value. Bali dito sa table na to, meron tayong dalawang value ng K. Bali may theoretical value tayo and recommended design value for ideal conditions are when ideal condition are approximate. Kapag ka-analysis yung design na problem, we will use this value, itong theoretical K value natin. And for design problems, we will use this K value. At apaki sa ulo to, yung mga values ng K natin. Dahil, though pwede nyo siyang magamit, makikita nyo sa NSEP kapag may quizzes, pero kapag major examination, hindi siya provided. Kaya, apaki sa ulo na ito from now on pa lamang. Kasi minsan sa board exam, di rin specified kung ano yung value ng K na agamitin. Then, Kaso itong values na to, yun ay nagagamit lang natin pag isolated columns. Pero kapag ka mga frames, mas tedious yung analysis natin compared dito. Pagka mga nasa buong structures na. At kapag ka nasa buong structures or frame yung ating mga columns, ginagamit itong ating alignment chart, which the effective length of columns in frame can be computed. Bali, may dalawa tayong type ng alignment chart. Merong para sa sway inhibited. Bali, bawal mag-sway yung ating frame. Then, we have the sideway uninhibited or sa moment frame natin. Bali, dito sa sideways uninhibited, allowed yung swaying ng ating frames. Dito kasi hindi pwedeng mag-sway yung ating frames dahil naka-brace siya. Bali, halimbawa, ito yung frame natin. Ay, sorry. Nag-sway na agad. Ito yung frame natin. Halimbawa, siya ay fixed-ended dyan. Kapag uninhibited tayo, kahit anong gawin mong lateral force na i-apply dyan, hindi man gasway yung ating member. Though may kakaroon ng deflection dahil nga sa effect ng lateral loads. Pero bawal siya mag-sway. May mga deflection lang na gumanyan lang. Nagkaroon ng slope doon sa ating members pero hindi siya mag-move. Pero kapag uninhibited, magalaw yung ating section. Magaganyan. Hindi ko ma-drawing na maayos. Ay, sorry. Mali ata. Baliktad. Baliktad, wari. Ganun dapat. Basta parang hinanginan. Doon sa isa, nag-resist siya ng hangin. Dahil sa bracing. Bali, aside from brace, di ba yung brace naka-X siya, pwedeng make shear wall, kaya uninhibited yung ating swaying movement. Kapag itong frame na, or alignment chart na tong gagamitin natin. At paano nagamit tong alignment chart na to? Computein lang natin yung value ng GA at GB. Bali, yung GA na yan, depende yan doon sa ends ng ating member. Bali, analyze kunwari natin to. Ito si A, then si B. Bali, si GA at si GB, depende siya dito. At mau-compute natin yan using this formula. Summation of modulus of elasticity of column members times moment of inertia ng column divided by L over C. Bali dito, sa GA, may dalawa tayong column, column BA and column AC, kunwari. May dalawa siyang EI over LC para sa BA at sa AC. Then, divided by yan ng summation of EG sa girder times IG over LG. Since point A or itong na-analyze natin, meron tayong D at F na girder na analyze. Bali, dalawa din yung nasa denominator niya. Then, sa point B naman, kailangan kasi natin kuhain pa rin GB natin. Yung EC, IC, LC ng GB ay ito lang para sa BA, isa lamang. Then, yung EG, IG, LG ay para sa point na to. HB and BG. Makukompute natin. Then, pag may value na tayo ng GA at GB, ang kailangan lang natin gawin ay i-plot dito. Halimbawa, nakuha natin ang value per GA ay 0.1. Plot natin dito. Then, yung GB ay 1.0. Then, andito siya. Then, after natin i-plot, and connect lang natin. Then, locate natin kung saan nag-touch, yung intersection ng line natin at dito sa K. At kung ano yung value nito, approximately, that's 5 kasi ito, di 6.7. 0.67. Ito yung magiging K natin na effective length factor natin na K. Bali, dalawa siya. Mamimili ka kung sideway inhibited or sideway uninhibited na moment or alignment chart yung gagamitin natin. Depende dun sa figure. Bali, may example tayo niyan later sa separate video. Tapos, kapag ka nandito sa baba, sa supports natin, at kapag ka pin yung ating connection, automatically si G rather, ay 10 na agad. Hindi na natin kailangan mag-compute. And kung siya ay 10, pin, then connected sa fix, di 1.0, di ito yung magiging natin, alignment chart na flat. Di, makukompute na natin si K dito. Bali, napakitandaan ito, pagka pin tayo, that's 10. At kapag ka-fix ay 1 or 1.0. At itong ating alignment chart na to, this is based on the Jackson and Moreland chart. Tatawag din natin siyang Jackson and Moreland chart. At ginamit niya itong following assumptions based on itong assumption na to para magawa si alignment chart natin. Bali, sabi dito, the members are elastic, have constant cross-section, and are connected with rigid joints. Then all columns buckle simultaneously, sabay-sabay. Then for brace frame, the rotations at the opposite ends of each beams are equal in magnitude, and each beam bends. Each beam beams in single curvature. Ano doon? Bends yung isa. Then for unbraced frame, yung sideways uninhibited, the rotations at the opposite ends at each beam are equal in magnitude, but in each, Ba't may mali? Each end of each beam are equal in magnitude, but each end bends in double curvature. Each beam ay may double curvature daw. Then, for axial compression forces in girders are negligible. Bali, na-analyze lang kasi nga natin dito ay yung mga columns, kaya yung mga forces sa girders are negligible. Hindi siya natin na-consider as our compression members. Kahit na may mag-exist doon na compression forces. At kapag ka hindi man na-follow itong assumptions na to, ng Jackson and Moreland chart natin, ito pala yung mga na-follow yung assumption. Ito yung example ng frame na na-drawing ko kanina. At ito ay uninhibited. Pagka inhibited siya, magkakaroon ng bracings. Or pwede simple sinabi lang na may uninhibited. Or meron dito supports that will resist or will not permit yung ating swaying movement. At kapag hindi man na-meet yung assumptions ng Jackson and Moreland na chart natin, may considerations na ganito. Di ba kanina may assumption na value depende kung pin or fix yung ating connection. Bali, multipliers for rigidly attached members, condition at the far end of girder. Bali, kapag pin at sideways prevented, multiply natin siya by 1.0. At kapag fix against rotation, multiply by 2.0. Then kapag sideways uninhibited, tapos meron tayong pin at the far end, multiply natin by 0.5. And kapag fix naman, ay 0.6. At ano itsura ng ating mga frames na hindi man na-meet yung assumption ng Jackson and Moreland chart natin? Ito yung mga frames natin with irregularities. Bali dito sa taas natin na to, irregular siya, Bali hindi nasunod yung Jackson and Moreland na analysis natin. At yung sample problems for this one will be presented in a separate video. And that ends our discussion for the slenderness limitation. And we will have our sample problem in a separate video. Then, For the next video, discuss natin itong local instability dahil importante siya sa pag-determine kung gagamitin ba natin yung nauna na formulas natin based on NSCP or we will use this modified na formula ng slenderness na compression forces natin kapag may slender elements. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Good day everyone. In this video, we will discuss the local stability. Previously, we have discussed that there are 4 types of limit states. And meron tayong local and global. Bali sa global, we have the flexural buckling, torsional buckling, flexural ay bending, then for torsional buckling, rotation, then sa flexural buckling natin, nag-buckle na siya or nag-bend, then nag-twist pa. Bali combination of flexural and torsion. Kaya flexural torsional buckling. Then aside from that, we have a localized buckling which is called the local buckling. And this local buckling reduces yung overall buckling strength or compressive strength ng ating members. For the local stability, the flexural buckling is the overall buckling of the compression member. And when elements or member of this section is so thin, a local buckling occurs. Yung flexural buckling for the entire section, while itong local buckling ay localized. Bali, may certain part lang ng section natin yung ga-fail. At bakit siya ga-fail? Dahil sobrang nipis niya. Thus, a flexural strength is no longer fully effective due to the local buckling. At dahil nagkaroon na ng initial failure due to local buckling, hindi na ma-attain ng ating section yung kabuang flexural strength niya or compressive strength ng ating elements. And this instability in the elements of the member must be avoided. Dapat natin siyang pigilan or kung hindi natin siya actually mapipigilan unless i-reinforce natin sa part na yan. At dahil nga nare-reduce nito yung kanyang buckling strength, hanap tayo ng way in order to compute or take into account that reduced flexural strength. At para nga makompute natin yung reduced na flexural strength, na-modify natin yung formula natin doon sa section 505. Itong formula natin na to, minomodify natin siya sa pamamagitan ng pag-introduce ng value na Q or yung factor na Q natin. At yung factor na Q, depende siya sa elements natin, kung stiffened or unstiffened elements. At since yung ating local buckling ay nag-occur siya, kapag may thin members, dapat ma-compare natin yung width to thickness ratio ng mga parts ng ating cross-sectional area. Bali, 505 na na-discuss natin earlier, yun lang ay totoo daw kapag walang slender elements or kapag compact and non-compact yung section natin. Then, kapag may slender na, mag-a-apply na tayo ng modified na formula natin, yung may Q. At paano natin malalaman kung non-compact, compact, or slender yung ating section? Depende siya sa width to thickness ratio na provided dito sa next na tables natin. Bali, yan, sa next table natin, meron tayo nito. Dito natin ma-identify kung anong type yung ating section, kung siya compact, non-compact, or slender. Pero before we can identify kung ano yung mga yun, dapat malaman muna natin itong dalawang term. Itong ating unstiffened and stiffened na elements. Yung unstiffened element natin, siya ay projecting piece with free edges parallel to the direction of the compressive forces. Bali sa unstiffened natin, hanging siya, para cantilever. Bali dito, sa T-section natin, this part is unstiffened. Bali dito, supported siya sa may gitna. Dito sa part na to, supported siya. Yan. Ay, nasa na? Ba't lumipat? Sa part dito, supported Pero dito, free end. Dito rin free end, then free end. Therefore, we have 3 unstiffened elements dito. Then dito rin yan, unsupported. Angle siya, no? Built-up section na angle. Pali ito ay unstiffened as well as this one. Then dito, since supported siya up to here, this portion of our composite section ay tinatawag natin unstiffened. Basta kapag isang side lang ng ating element yung supported, that's an stiffened element. Whereas kapag both sides ng ating element ay supported, na-consider natin siya na stiffened elements. Supported along the two edges in that direction. Considering this I section, bali composite siya. Bali this element, itong web, supported by two flanges. Bali may supports tayo dito, provided by the flanges, the unstiffened itong part na to. Pero, ito ay unstiffened. Meron siyang unstiffened na 4. Then dito, kanina nakita natin na ito ay unstiffened. Pero dito, since supported siya with the bolts, itong portion na to is called stiffened elements. Then here, supported siya with this I section, itong plates. Itong plate natin, kino-consider natin siya as stiffened elements. Then dito, dinagdagan natin ang hanging dito sa part na to. Since may support na rin siya din, di naging stiffened itong part ng flange na to. Though, pero itong baba na to ay unstiffened. Intindihan yung difference ng unstiffened and stiffened elements. Kapag supported both sides, that's stiffened. Pero kapag isang side lang, yung supported, siya ay unstiffened element. At with that knowledge, pwede natin makompute yung different na width to thickness ratio natin. Listed here in this table, yung different types of width to thickness ratio. Take into account natin yung type of or description of the elements. Since tayo ay about compression lamang, yung mga compression members lang ang ating a-analyze. Ito, compression, compression, compression. Compression din to, ito pa, and ito. Iba, magagamit natin yan ay width to thickness ratio for our flexural members, which is sa next topic pa. Ano si width to thickness ratio? That's B over T. Take note yung mga illustration for the examples. Si B natin is the 1/2 ng flange times the thickness of the flange. And then, kailangan natin yan i-compare dito sa limiting slenderness, width to thickness ratio natin. Sa compact, wala tayong limitation. Pero sa non-compact, yung lambda R natin ay 0.56 of E over Fy. Kapag ka less than, yung makukompute natin na B over T, ibig sabihin non-compact yung section natin. Pero kapag ka nag-exceed si B over T sa value na to, ay magiging slender elements na. Yan, may provided tayo dito. Kapag ka less than YP, si B over T, we have compact. Kapag ka greater sa P over, lambda P, but less than sa lambda R, si section natin, or yung BT niya, non-compact. Pero kapag greater than lambda R, slender elements na siya. At kapag ka may slender elements, meron tayong local buckling. Therefore, incorporate natin yung Q na mai-introduce mamaya. Then dito, check lang din natin ito. May width to thickness ratio tayo for uniform compression in flange of built-up I-shape section and plates for angles and legs. Ito siya. Then ito, meron din tayo sa single and double angles. Then, for uniform compression in stem of teeth. Then, uniform compression in webs of doubly symmetric I-shape section. Then, uniform compression in flanges of regular box and hollow structural sections. Then, meron pa dito rin, uniform compressions in all other stiffened elements. Ito rin, meron dito. Compression for circular hollow sections. Hahanapin natin dito sa table na to kung anong type siya mapasok. Then, a-compute natin si width to thickness ratio at a-compare natin siya dito sa limiting width to thickness ratio para ma-identify natin kung compact, non-compact, and slender ba yung ating elements. At kapag ka non-compact and compact yung naunang formulang gagamitin natin, but if we see kung may slender elements doon, at least sa stiffened or unstiffened elements niya, we will use this formula. Kapag ka may slender elements tayo, we'll use 5.05.7. Bali, this section applies to compression members with slender section as defined in section 502.4 for uniformly compressed elements. Bali, ito ay halos kamuka rin lang nung ating naunang NSCP code. Ang kaibahan lang nga dito dahil meron na tayong slender elements, meron tayong value ng Q. Bali si Q depende siya sa kung aling elements yung slender, kung siya ay stiffened or unstiffened. Bali kapag ginamit natin tong code na to, kailangan nating i-check din yung other limit states such as the torsional and flexural torsional buckling. Dahil prone na siya sa dalawang limit states na yun. Pero kapag compact tayo, simply flexural buckling lang yung ating i-consider. Pero dito, tatlo na yung kailangan natin i-consider. Though, ang gag-govern usually pa rin is si flexural buckling. Balik kamukha lang din siya, no? Other than na-multiply by Q lahat ng Fy. Dito lahat ng Fy natin ay may multiplier na Q. At ano si Q? Si Q daw ay 1.04 members with compact and non-compact section. Balik kung sa ulo kayo, mas maganda ito yung sa uluhin ninyo. Ano? Kasi kapag may or compact and non-compact yung buong section natin, si Q mawawala lang. Magiging 1.0. Pero kapag hindi man compact and non-compact si section dahil may slender elements tayo, kailangan natin makuha si Q using QS times QA. At si QS and QA will be computed using this formulas. Bali, hindi naman to kailangan sa uluhin, pero there are different cases for different types of members na gagamitin natin. Bali, kapag meron tayong unstiffened slender elements lang, bali, non-slender yung ating stiffened elements, si QA natin ay 1. Automatically 1. Then, si QS, kailangan natin siyang computin. Bali, since si QA ay 1, si Q ay equal lamang sa QS na makukuha natin based on this formulas. Yan ay kapag kasi stiffened element natin ay compact or non-compact. Then, kapag naman si stiffened elements for cross-section composed of only stiffened slender elements na yung mga unstiffened section natin ay compact or non-compact, ibig sabihin si QS ay automatically 1.0. Then yung Q ay equal lang sa QA. Bali si QA will be obtained using this formula. At si QA, mas mahirap siyang i-compute. Kasi si QA will requires iteration. Then, mas mahirap kapag both stiffened and unstiffened elements natin ay slender parehas. Dahil kailangan natin kumuha ng QS at si QA at multiply natin si product nila. Pagka meron yan, si stiffened and stiffened elements natin are slender, Q natin ay QS times QA. Bali, mas mahirap siya, kasi adaanan natin ito, then itong ating section na to. Bali, for the determination of our QS, we have 4 cases. Bali, meron tayong for flanges, angles, and plates projected from rolled columns, or other compression members. Bali, may different considerations tayo at yan ay nakadepende pa rin sa width to thickness ratio natin. Bali, si B over T ay less than or equals 0.56 square root of E over Fy, Q as a 1.0. Pero kapag ka hindi man attain yun, compute natin yung QS based on this formula. Then for angles, flanges, and plates projecting from built-up columns or compression elements, then we will have this formula. Built-up to, no, array rolled-up columns. Then for single angles, we'll have this one, and from stem of this, we will have this formulas. Bali, dapat tama mong ma-identify kung anong type ng section yun para ma-identify mo properly kung ano yung value ng QS. Kasi kung siya pala ay for single angle, yung na-analyze natin, then we use this formula for flanges, angles, and plates projected from rolled columns. Mamamali tayo, ano. Medyo tedious dito sa dalawa, ano. Kasi ito lang yung pinagkaiba niya. Pag rolled section, case 1, pagka built up ay case 2. Then for single angle, case 3. Then for stem of these, that's case 4. Then for slender stiffened elements, we'll use this method. May different cases din siya. And this requires iteration. And to solve this one, we'll just have the sample problem para mas maintindihan kung paano to ina-apply. Then, and pag nakakuha na tayo ng QA and QS, gamitin lang natin itong section na to. Then, makukompute na natin si ating FCR. Then, pag may FCR na tayo, makukompute natin si PN. Then, after having the nominal compressive strength, we can compute for our design strength and allowable strength by just applying the necessary resistance factor and the factor of safety natin based on the two design philosophies. Bali, that's 0.9 and 1.67. And with that, pwede na natin makompute yung ating mga design strength. And the computation for those design strength will be done in a separate video. Para series of video siya for example problems natin. And aside from that, we'll have sample problems during our face-to-face classes. Then, aside from this, we have this special topics which is for angle sections. For compressive angle, that's under 505.5. Yan, pakibasa ng mga to, no? And we will have sample problem for this. Then aside from that, we also have the special topic number 2 for built-up members. And we can compute for its nominal strength based on these codes. Naka-state din siya sa ating NSCP. Then, we also have the torsional and flexural torsional buckling. And to compute for that, yung PN natin ay equal lang din sa FCR times AG. Pero yung computation ng FCR natin ay stated here dito sa codes na to. Bale, meron tayong for double angle and T-shaped compression members. Then, for all other FCR, other cases, yung FCR natin will be determined using these cases. Bali, may another axis tayo consider dito, ano? May Z tayo since may rotation na magaganap. And naka-state naman yung mga notations dito for the guidance in computation of our torsional and flexural torsional buckling without slender elements. And that ends our video for our design and analysis for compression members. And the sample problems ay sa next videos na. Thank you for watching. And hopefully na ready na kayo sa quiz natin for the analysis and design for tension members. That ends our video. Goodbye. Good day, everyone. For the analysis and design of our compressive members, we have three special topics. And the first special topic is the single angle. Then we have our built-up members. And lastly, we have the torsional and flexural buckling. Bali, however, we'll be focusing sa flexural buckling only. Though we will have a sample problems na madidiscuss para dito sa mga types ng mga compressive members na to. Sa single angle, sa built-up sections natin, and sa failure natin based on torsional and flexural buckling. Mali kindly read itong mga sections natin lifted from the NSCP, and we'll have our sample problems sa face-to-face sessions at do sa recorded videos natin, and hoping na nabasa nyo na itong mga sections na to. That's all. Thank you for watching. Good day, everyone. We will have our special topic number 1, which is single angle. For single angle compression members, bali this are single angle, which is used as compression member. Bali for our single angle compression members often encountered in trusses. Sa trusses natin usually ginagamit si single angle if we'll use this as a compression member. And these members are subjected to large eccentricity. And the normal compressive strength, Pn of single angle members, shall be determined in accordance with section 505.3 or section 505.7 as appropriate for actually loaded members. But this section, ito yung pag-compute na ating Pn if we don't have a slender elements, then dito kapag meron tayong slender elements. As appropriate for actually loaded members, as well as those subjected to slenderness modification of section 505.1, and 505.52, provided that the member meets the criteria imposed. The effect of eccentricity on single angle members are permitted to be neglected when the members are evaluated as actually loaded compression members using one of the effective slenderness ratios specified below, provided that first, members are loaded at the end of each ends in compression through the same one leg. Bali, one leg lang yung application of load. Then members are attached by welding or by minimum 2 bolt connections, and there are no intermediate traverse loads. Bali, if there will be no intermediate traverse load if all members connected to the same gusset plate is on both sides. Bali, on the same side lamang. Bali, these are the slenderness modifications stated sa 505.5 natin. Bali, yung gagamitin natin sa 505.3 na slenderness ratio ay itong makukuha natin dito sa topic na to. Bali, yung first condition natin, or first case natin, case 1, for equal leg angles or unequal leg angles connected through the longer leg. Bali, pag unequal leg is sa longer leg, pero sa equal leg, both naman siya na both length or both yung length niya, kaya wala tayong longer leg doon. That are individual members or web members of the planar truss. Bali, dapat ay plain truss yung ating structures para dito sa case number 1 with adjacent web members attached on the same side of the gusset plate or cord. Bali, if it passed this criteria, yung ating slenderness modification will be if our L over Rx is greater than 0 but less than 80, effective slenderness ratio will be computed or modified as 72 plus 0.75 times L over Rx. However, if L over Rx exceeded 80, KL over R will be modified as follows. Bali, 32 plus 1.25 L over Rx. And thus, this must not exceed yung minimum. Maximum. Maximum? Minimum. Basta yung 200. Bawal siya sumabra sa 200. Bali, may additional case dito, no? For equal leg angles with leg length ratios less than 1.7 and connected through the shorter leg KL over R from 505.51 and 505.5.2 shall be increased by adding 4 times B T over BS squared minus 1, but KL over R of the member shall not be less than 0.95 L over RZ. Bali, RZ is the radius of gyration with respect to z-axis na ating single angle. And if yung ating single angle does not meet yung criteria natin for case number 1, then we will have our case number 2. Bali, this is for unequal leg angles or unequal leg angles connected through the longer leg that are web members of box or space truss. Bali, kapag space truss, we'll use case number 2. Then, with adjacent members attached on the same side of the gusset plate or cord. And if we have a space truss, ang ating modification, if L over Rx is greater than 0 but less than 75 is effective slenderness ratio is 60 plus 0.8 L over Rx. But if it exceeds 75, then we have KL over R as 45 plus L over Rx, which must be less than sa 200. And meron din tayong modification, additional modification or case for number 2, and it is stated here. Bali, after computing the KL over Rx, bali, depende kung meron tayong slender or non-slender elements, then pwedeng gumamit tayo ng 503 or 507. 503 ay yung walang Q, 507 ay yung may Q. Then, after that, makukompute natin si FCR. Then, after computing for FCR, we can compute for PN. Then, after that, we can compute LRFD design strength or CPU max and ASD design strength. ASD, allowable strength, which is PA max. And we will have our sample problem on a separate video. Okay, thank you for watching. Good day everyone. In this video, we will have our special topic number 3, which is about the torsional and flexural torsional buckling. And for this topic, we will deal with NSCP section 505.4, which discusses the compressive strength of torsional and flexural torsional buckling of members without slender elements. This section applies to singly symmetric and unsymmetric members and certain doubly symmetric members such as cruciform or built-up columns with compact and non-compact section or non-slender elements, such as defined in section 502.4 for uniformly compressed elements. And these provisions are not required for single angle, which are covered in section 505.5 or our special topic number 1. And for this, our nominal compressive strength Pn shall be determined by the following limit states of flexural torsional and torsional buckling as follows. Pn equals FCR times Ag. Pari, katulad lang din siya nung ating
flexural buckling, that's the nominal strength, is computed by multiplying the critical buckling stress, that is based on flexural torsional or torsional buckling, multiplied by the area gross. Bali, discussing this topic, we will have the values for the other limit states. Bali, we have the first limit state, which is the flexural buckling. Then next is the torsional buckling, TB, and our flexural torsional buckling. And for this three limit state, we will be obtaining three different values of nominal strength. The PN. Bali, PN based on FB or flexural buckling, nominal strength based on torsional buckling, and nominal strength based on flexural torsional buckling. And successively, we can compute for its PU max based on the three different limit states. And similar sa ating members under tension, we will get our PU max for all limit state based on kung alin yung minimum na PU maxes between dito sa tatlo nating limit states. Bali, between PU max 1, PU max 2, and PU max 3. Or PU based on flexural buckling, PU based on torsional buckling, and PU based on flexural torsional buckling. And yung minimum doon, yun yung gagovern and that will be used sa design process natin. Or sa analysis natin if yung ating column will be able to support the loads applied to it. Yung mga dead loads and live load natin. And with that, let's go back to section 505 to determine ano yung mga sections that will fail based on flexural, torsional buckling, and torsional buckling. Earlier, nakita natin that for flexural buckling, all doubly symmetric and singly symmetric members will fail on flexural buckling. However, some sections such as singly symmetric and asymmetric members and certain doubly symmetric members such as cruciform and built-up columns will also fail on torsional and flexural torsional buckling. And to determine kung alin yung gagovern, we will compare the following values of PN that will be computed by FCR times area gross. But in practice, solving for the torsional and flexural buckling will require so much effort. And that can be seen in these equations. Medyo nakakatakot yung equation for this type of buckling. However, kaya naman siyang isolve. But in practice, ang ginagawa ng mga engineers natin ay we will design our columns such that it will only fail based on flexural buckling so that we will no longer need to compute for our torsional and flexural torsional buckling. For example, kaya ang ginagamit mostly for column section is si I-beam, since si I-beam ay, or I-column rather, ay mag-fail lang on flexural buckling. Also, yung I-beam kasi natin ay wala siya na slender elements, or very rare yung case na magiging slender yung element ng ating I section. Kaya favorable yung paggamit sa kanya. Though we cannot eliminate the fact that we will be required to use some singly symmetric and asymmetric members for other compressive members. Pag columns kasi automatically na I section or a built-up section yung gagamitin natin. But for truss members, that will require some sections that will be much easier to use. Hindi kasi natin basta-basta may kakabit si I section that will be used as trusses. Kaya wala tayong choice kundi gumamit ng double angle or single angle for our trusses, or pwede rin gumamit tayo ng T-section. At if we will use such sections which is considered as singly symmetric and unsymmetric members, the we will be required to compute for its flexural and torsional buckling. Pero, um, para nga maiwasan natin yung pag-compute ng torsional and flexural buckling, we will design such that yung column natin or compressive member will only fail on flexural buckling. I hope na naintindihan yun, ano. And with that, since kailangan pa rin natin computein for some instances si torsional and flexural buckling, let's dig deeper dito sa formulas ng ating torsional and flexural buckling, considering that there is no slender elements. We have two condition. Bali, yung first condition natin is for double angle and T-shaped sections. Bali, yung ating critical buckling stress, FCR, can be computed by FCRY plus FCRZ over 2H multiplied to 1 minus square root of 1 minus 4 CRZ FCRY times H divided by the square of FCRY plus FCRZ, such where FCRY taken as FCRZ from equation 505-0.3-2 or 505.3-3. Yung sa natin dito. Balik tayo gamit itong walang slender element natin na formula. Nasaan na siya? Gamit ito. Itong dalawang formulas na to. Given away yung fail. Then, balik lang tayo. Then, for flexural buckling, about y-axis of symmetry and KL over R equals KL over RY. And yung ating FCRZ ay mo-compute naman natin using GJ over area gross times R sub O squared. Wherein yung G natin is the shear modulus of elasticity of steel, and its value is 77,220 MPa. Bali, counterpart ito ni modulus of elasticity natin. But this time, it's for shear, kaya G yung tawag naman natin. And yung other case naman natin is for all other case, yung FCR shall be determined according to 505.3-2 or 505.3-3 using the flexural or torsional torsional elastic buckling stress FE. Bali si FE ay makukompute muna natin using the following equations. First one is for doubly symmetric, yung ating torsional or flexural torsional elastic buckling for doubly symmetric is pi squared E times C sub W divided by K sub Z times L squared plus GJ multiplied to 1 over IX plus IY or J, yung nasa baba natin. And for singly symmetric members where Y is the axis of symmetry, FE is FE sub Y, F is Y plus FEZ divided by 2H times 1 minus square root of 1 minus 4 FEY FEZ times H divided by FEY plus FEZ squared. At almost kamukha siya ni FCR natin for double angle. Aside that, FE yung ating gagamitin dito. Where yung FEY, and FEZ will be computed using these two equations. Then lastly, for our unsymmetric members, FE is the lowest root of cubic equation na FE times FEX times FE times FEY, minus pala, no? FE minus FEX times FE minus FEY times FE minus FEZ, minus FE squared times FE minus FEY, X sub O over R sub O squared minus FE squared times FE minus FEX times Y sub O divided by R sub O squared equals 0. Bali yung lowest root dito na FE, yun yung ating value ng FE. Then, yung AG is the area gross of member. CW is the warping constant. Then, yung ating R sub O is squared, or simply yung R sub O is the polar radius of gyration about the shear center. Bali, ano ibig sabihin ng shear center? Bali, nandun nag-act yung shear natin. Bali, for T-section, ang shear center natin ay nasa intersection nung ating midpoint or midyan ng ating flange and midyan ng stem. Bali, dito nakalocate si ating shear center for a T-section. And to get the location of our shear center, pag x ay 0, then for y, di makuha tayo ng value ng y natin minus the half nung ating flange para makuha natin itong ating y sub o. And yung y sub 0, x sub 0 dito ay automatically equals sa 0 since nag-coincide lang naman yung ating y-axis doon sa ating shear center. Then yung ating h ay makukompute using 1 minus x sub o squared plus y sub o squared divided by r sub o squared. Then yung FEX, FEY, and FEZ will be computed with this equations. Bali for polar moment, ito kasi ay polar moment of polar radius of gyration about the shear center. If we will just get the polar radius of gyration, that's simply R sub O equals square root of I sub X plus I sub Y or divided by AG. Or itong term lang na to. Naka-square root lang. Pag polar radius of gyration, yung ating nakuha. Pero if we will get the polar radius of gyration about the shear center, we will have the transfer part, which is this one. Then we have here a user note that for doubly symmetric and I-shape section, CW may be taken as I sub y, h sub o squared divided by 4, where h sub o is the distance between the flange centroid in lieu of a more precise analysis for TN double section. Omit term with CW when computing FEZ and take X sub O as 0. Palito ay matatanggal daw if we want to have a more precise analysis. Ito rin matatanggal. Lahat na may CW. And to understand more on how we're going to use this equation, we will have a sample problem in a separate video. Thank you for watching. Good day. In a previous video, we have discussed the analysis of compression member. And this time, we will deal with the design of compression members. For the design of compression members, we have two methods. And first one is by using our AISC table for column loads. Then, the second method is the trial and error method. For the AISC table, we will be referring to this table. It is downloadable. And to use this one, we will select the loads that we want to apply in our section or structural member. Then, select tayo ng structural elements na gusto natin or its shape. Then dito listed yung nominal depth niya. Then for the nominal depth, we have various weights that correspond to it. Then dito sa side na to, makikita natin yung unbraced or effective length. And pagka nakapili tayo ng effective length and or section na gagamitin natin, hahanapin lang natin yung intersection nila. Like this, ito nag-intersect. Then, for an effective length na 11, that kung sa nag-meet, kuhain lang natin yung value na yan and compare natin sa ating ultimate load or allowable load para ma-determine natin if this section has enough compressive strength to carry our applied load. And if it is enough, that's okay na. But if it's not enough, we should find a lighter section that is capable to resist the applied load. And for instances na hindi man available dito sa table ng AISC, yung section na kayang i-resist yung ating load or iba yung ating FY na gagamitin, hindi listed dito, we will use our trial and error approach. Bali, these are for unlisted shape. For shapes not in column load tables, a trial and error approach must be used, and the general approach is to assume a shape and then compute its strength. If the strength is too small or unsafe or too large or uneconomical, another trial must be made. And listed here is the steps or the systematic approach on making a trial selection. First, assume a value for critical buckling stress, FCR. Examination of AISC equation shows that theoretically maximum value of FCR is the yield stress. Then second step is to determine the required area based on our ultimate stress or based on the load combination that we're going to use. Then number 4, select a shape that satisfies the area requirement. Then number 4, to a 3, then is to a 2. Compute for FCR and the strength of the trial value. Then number 6, revise if necessary, and if the available strength is very close to the required value, the next tabulated size can be tried. Otherwise, repeat the entire procedure using the value of FCR found for the current trial shape as the value for step 1. Then lastly, if we have selected the shape that is suitable to carry the required load, we shall check for the local stability. And if it is slender, therefore there's a local instability, we should revise if necessary. And to familiarize this step, we will have a sample problem which we are going to design a section that is not listed on the table.